Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I think when I show you the bonnet of my car, you'll agree with me that the paintwork is in terrible condition. About 4 years ago I did a temporary repair. I sanded it and I just put clear coat on, and it's lasted about 3 or 4 years, and but at the moment the clear coat is peeling off again. And there's just one thing which you have to remember, that I only needed a quick fix, and I needed it to look a lot better than it was, and it was only meant to be a temporary repair. Okay, I hope you can see a bit of a glare from the sun today, and you can actually see here how bad it is. So this is the sandpaper that I bought, 240, which I'll probably start with. Then I will progress to a 400. I've also got a 600, and much later I'll be using this one, which is a 1000. Okay, so I've torn off a piece of the 240, and I've got this pretty hard little like foam piece that I'm going to be putting inside there, like so. I'm also going to be wet sanding as well, because it doesn't make any dust. I won't have to wear a mask, and it also doesn't clog up the sandpaper. So I'm going to start with like little circular movements. And that white that you can see there, that is actually the prime coat. So they primed it like a whitish color. And now just on this area here, if I rub my finger over there, it's like super smooth. But if I go up to that dark spot there, which has still got paint on it, you can still feel a little ridge over there. And this is definitely still too rough, so I've got to take that off as well. That white edge that you can see, that is actually a clear coat which is coming off. Okay, today I'm still working outside, actually on the driveway. I've managed to take out the plastic air intake vent, and also over here was the little nozzles for the window washer. So now I'm just going to get some soapy water, clean everything. So you can now see that I've covered most of the front of the car with paper. I just actually lifted the bonnet and tucked the paper underneath. I used paper because I'm not such a big fan of plastic. I try to avoid it as much as possible. So before I start, I'm actually going to clean the surface thoroughly. I'm using this product here, which is a degreaser. I also have these microfiber cloths. I've washed it down twice with a degreaser, let it dry in between, and now I'm going to use this cloth for a final wipe down. There's quite a lot of dust in the air today, quite a strong wind. And here's the primer which I'm going to be using. As you can see, it's grey. So now I'm going to start spraying. I'm going to do a very light coat first of all. So now it's 15 minutes later, and I'm just going to start on my second coat. So 15 or 20 minutes later, I'm going to start on my third coat. As you can see, I'm actually putting it on a lot heavier now. So now I'm going to be starting my fourth coat. So here we are a day later and having a look at the prime coat. I've got a very good coverage, but if I rub my finger over it, it feels a little bit rough and I want to knock it back a little bit. If I rub my hand on here, you actually can't hear anything and it's super smooth. If I rub my fingers over here, you can probably hear that. So once again, I'm actually using the little foam piece just so there's not too much pressure. And this is 1000 grit and I'm wet sanding it. Very lightly. Now, when I rub my hand over it, it's a whole lot smoother. So now this is the next day, and I'm going to just give it a wash down with the degreaser. As I said before, this is a very mild one. This is the paint that I'm going to be using. Never used this kind before, but I was able to match up the color perfectly. Under the bonnet, under the hood, there is the paint code on the side of the engine. So my first pass is going to be very light. So now it's about 10 minutes later and I'm going to start on the second coat. Also, I forgot to mention that you should be wearing a mask. This coat's going on a little bit more constant. I'm trying to overlap my spray as well. I've noticed that there's quite a lot of dust on here. If I just wipe my hands like this, you can actually see that. I don't know what that's caused from. Of course, it's quite possible that the spray was too far away from the metal, from the hood, and maybe the paint was actually drying before it actually reached here, and that's why there was that residue. But my next pass is going to be a lot closer. I know they do say if you have a tack rag you should use that, but I don't have a tack rag, so. So now for my fourth coat, I'm going to try and get a more even and more wet coat. So this is the clear coat that I'm going to be using. It is not a 2K clear, although it does say 2 coat. It just means that 2 coats should be sufficient. So now I'm going to start my second coat. So here we are the next morning. There's no sun today, just like very overcast clouds. Having a look at the work that I did yesterday. So at least you can sort of see my reflection. It's not a mirror finish, but it's a whole lot better. Maybe we should just have a look and see exactly how much this paint job cost me. I would guess about 30 euros for the 1.5 cans of paint and 1 can of clear coat, and maybe about 5 euros for sandpaper. So maybe it costs like 35 to 40 euros, and a couple of days of sanding and stripping it and painting it, and it was just like a weekend's work. So I was quoted 800 euros to actually paint this hood, and this car is like 24 years old, so if I had to sell it, I'll be lucky if I get 800 for it. So there's a lot of people out there with similar situation where they've got older cars and they're not looking so good, have to like repaint them. So you know, guys, don't be scared. I'm a complete novice, and this was like a weekend's work, and I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. So thanks for watching.